All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Tim Weisberg, and I'm the Deputy Director of Marketing and Public Affairs for the California Office of Traffic Safety. Really appreciate you being here for a really important message to kick off our Better Slow Than Sorry speeding prevention campaign. Speeding is dangerous. Speeding kills people every day, and yet there is this desire and mindset that it's okay to go above the speed limit. That mindset is what needs to change. That shift in thinking is the intention of this campaign. It's a call to action for drivers to slow the fast down, follow the speed limit, or you will be sorry. It's better to be slow than sorry. Because lives are at stake. 32%. Think about that for a second. 32%. Nearly a third of all people killed on California roads are due to speeders. 1,403 people in 2022 alone in California. This is not just a statistic. That number represents people. Senseless tragedies for family, friends, and loved ones left behind and taken far too soon for something that's preventable. Our campaign, in partnership with Caltrans and CHP and our other law enforcement partners that are supporting us, aims to change behaviors and promote a culture of safe driving, not fast driving. Speeding is such a problem here in Sacramento. One Sacramento resident took matter into his own hands to address it, and you'll hear from Slow Down Sacramento founder Isaac Gonzalez shortly, and local grassroots efforts that are being done in the city to address the speeding problem. It's why we're here at Fremont Park today at 16th and P. Last April, just 8 blocks from here, a state worker was killed simply for walking. This street feeds onto Interstate 5 as people rush out of downtown. Here's the thing. Speeding doesn't save you that much time. In 2022, the Army did a study on how much time was saved driving above the speed limit. If it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit and you're going 10 miles over the speed limit, so you're going 60 and a 50, it saves you 6 minutes. 6 minutes in a 30-minute commute, going 30 miles. Go 70 miles an hour in the same 50-mile-an-hour zone. 10 minutes are saved on your drive. Do you think someone's life is worth 6 or 10 minutes of your time? I do. We should all think that. It's time for a culture change. If you're driving over the speed limit or too fast for conditions, you're speeding, plain and simple. Speeding is a choice, and it puts pedestrians, bicyclists, and people using mobility assistance devices at even more risk. My dad uses a cane and a walker, and there are a lot of older folks that use these devices to get around. And while drivers and passengers benefit from safety features like airbags and a car's improved structural design, there are zero protections for people outside the vehicle. People who are not in the car, they do not have the luxury of a vehicle's body, the bumper, or the technology to protect them. Bicyclists and pedestrians are not wearing seatbelts, they don't have airbags, and they certainly don't have bumpers. None of us are wearing that today, right now, as we stand outside. Safer, slower drivers save lives. For some context, a pedestrian struck by a vehicle going 42 miles an hour has a 50-50 chance of not making it. At 32 miles per hour, so say you're in a 30-mile-an-hour zone and you drive 42 and a pedestrian is struck and killed, that's a 50-50 chance. If you're going 32 and a 30, just a couple miles over, and hopefully not, but if you are, that chance of surviving doubles for the pedestrian to 75%. The risk of death reduced in half, which shows the importance of lowering speed limits, because simple physics tell us the faster you go, the more damage that is done. So today, through the first week of August, you will see messages on social media highlighting the benefits. There is a benefit here of slower speeds, where just a slight decrease in the speed of a car lowers the chances for a pedestrian. And really, in addition, lowering speed limits, designing roads that create a better, safer environment for pedestrians. Collectively, we all share in this responsibility to make safety our top priority. You will also see video messages that emphasize if you don't have enough time to stop or react to a bicyclist, a pedestrian, a child in the street, that you are going too fast. You'll also hear audio messages encouraging everyone to treat everyone that you see like it's your closest family, your friend, your partner, your loved one. Not everyone drives, and you must keep people who don't drive safe. They're also going places. So again, collectively, law enforcement to deter the dangerous behaviors, better road design, and changing our behaviors, we all share that responsibility. Slowing down is not an inconvenience. Speeding, it's a selfish act. And it's better to be slow and arrive a few minutes later than sorry. With that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker today, Caltrans Chief Safety Officer, Rachel Carpenter. Rachel.
Thank you, Tim. Every day, an average of 12 people lose their lives on California's roads. And as you heard from Deputy Director Weisberg, over 1/3 of traffic fatalities and serious injuries are speeding related. And oftentimes, it's the most vulnerable road users, people walking and biking, who are hardest hit by vehicular violence. In the event of a crash between a driver and a person walking or biking, the vehicle's speed will largely determine whether the person hit will survive. But numbers alone are not enough to paint the entire picture. Crashes, especially those involving a death or serious injury, affects not only those who sustain the injury, but their families, their friends, their coworkers, and their entire community. And the names in the media headlines and obituaries that we see every week can easily be the names of those we love. As Caltrans' first ever Chief Safety Officer, what propelled me to seek a career in road safety is one of those personal stories of loss that I'd like to share with you. In October of 1945 in Los Angeles, a mother was wheeling her 2-year-old child in a stroller as they were taking an evening walk. The mother noticed an oncoming vehicle speeding towards them and pushed her stroller out of the way. Unfortunately, the mother was hit by the speeding driver and did not survive. The 2-year-old child, Sharon, sustained multiple injuries and a skull fracture, but survived. Sharon grew up to become my aunt. This family story, and many like it, is what drives me and those standing with me towards our Vision Zero goal. It is the reason that I care so deeply about the speeding challenge that we continue to face more than 45 years after my Aunt Sharon lost her mother to an act of reckless driving. At Caltrans, we are honored to continue our partnership with the California Office of Traffic Safety, the California Highway Patrol, and other stakeholders like Slow Down Sacramento to work towards decreasing speeding-related fatalities and serious injuries in our state. Together, our partnership represents what's commonly referred to as the E's of traffic safety: education, engineering, enforcement, emergency services. And the focus on the E's is regularly cited as the framework to address our road safety challenge. Yet a public health approach teaches us that people operate in a system that presents choices for their behavior. Which is why at Caltrans, we are working to redefine the framework through which we operate. Civil engineers like myself and the thousands more at Caltrans play a large role in shaping the built environment. We will continue to work to understand and prioritize those approaches, which get to the root cause of our fatal and serious injury challenge. Then we'll enhance the built environment to be more forgiving. When it comes to speed, there's a fifth E, and that is the E of energy. Someone's speed is a determining factor in the amount of energy that is sustained in a crash, meaning that your speed on the road will determine if you and your fellow citizen lives or dies should a crash occur. Caltrans is doing everything we can to implement comprehensive traffic safety measures to eliminate death and serious injury on our roadways. It includes strategies to reduce our dependence on driving, the way we design our roads and intersections, and expanding safe walking, biking, and transit options. But we need your help. Without all of us practicing safe driving habits, these avoidable tragedies will continue to occur. Please make sure to drive the speed that is safe for conditions. When you see Caltrans vehicles with flashing amber lights or the blue and red of law enforcement, please pull over and drive safely. Unlike those of us traveling in vehicles with seatbelts and airbags, people outside of vehicles don't have the same level of protection, and they're more vulnerable every time they travel. Their safety must always be top of mind when we're driving. Don't be part of the reason that there's losses of life while traveling. Please join us in our quest for zero speeding-related deaths and serious injuries on our roads. And with that, I'd like to welcome California Highway Patrol Valley Assistant Division Chief Josh Ellers. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for all being here today. I'd like to thank our partners at the Office of Traffic Safety, Caltrans, for the invitation to speak today, and our partners at the Sacramento Police Department for their partnerships in ensuring traffic safety on our roadways throughout Sacramento. As we enter the summer season, we all know that it's important to recognize that this period of time can be one of the most dangerous times on our roadways. School is out, people are on vacation, and we see more and more vehicles on our roadway. It's important to note that because excessive speed kills, and when you combine that with fatigue, impaired driving, and other primary collision factors, it creates a perfect storm for potential tragedy, which the Highway Patrol and our partners want to avoid. Over the July 4th maximum enforcement period, we saw a number of fatalities in this region, but they went down significantly due to the enforcement efforts of law enforcement and our partners. And we want to continue that throughout the remainder of the year. Our focus and priority at the Highway Patrol is to stop speeding drivers and reckless drivers on our roadways and protect everybody in the communities that we serve. We're intensifying our efforts through corridor and enhanced enforcement, as well as utilizing technology like our aircraft, radar, and LiDAR to enforce our speed limits throughout the region and California. You'll notice an increased presence on our highways. As we deploy, we want to work closely with our partners at the Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans and our allied agencies to ensure that our roadways are safe to travel for everyone. For some context, in the first 6 months of this year, the California Highway Patrol has written over 255,000 citations for speeding violations in excess of 55 or 65 miles per hour, and over 9,000 for speeding violations in excess of 100 miles per hour. Those numbers are unacceptable, and we need people to slow down. We will continue to enforce the laws strictly and fairly, but we need people to realize that they can be part of a tragedy that we want to prevent. We're enhancing our proactive policing efforts, preventing sideshows and freeway takeovers, in combination with sobriety checkpoints and other avenues of enforcement to make our roadways safer. And we're coupling this with public safety campaigns and our OTS partners to get out the message through education, through social media, public service announcements, events like this, and education in our schools. We'd like to call on the community to assist us in making our roadways safe for everyone. And finally, I'd like to again thank all of our partners, Allied Law Enforcement, Caltrans, and the Office of Traffic Safety for this opportunity. It's the Highway Patrol's goal to provide the highest level of safety, service, and security to everyone in California and to reduce deaths on our roadways. Thank you. With that, I'd like to introduce Ken Collier, a sergeant from the Sacramento Police Department.
Thank you, Chief. Special thank you to the Office of Traffic Safety for gathering us all together. This is a really important initiative, and I'm happy to represent not only the Sacramento Police Department, but in essence, the local law enforcement agencies that take speeding very seriously. The Sacramento Police Department recognizes that speeding is a choice, and we have seen its devastating impacts. Over the last 4 years in particular, we have witnessed drastic increases in fatal and injury crashes specifically related to dangerous driving behaviors like speeding. The Sacramento Police Department is dedicated to changing the culture of dangerous driving through a series of initiatives that local law enforcement agencies have discussed at length. And we agree that this is the process that we need to move forward with. And the first of which is our partnerships. We're fortunate at the Sacramento Police Department to have a very strong relationship and a partnership with the Office of Traffic Safety. We've been able to actively increase our enforcement visibility and make an impact on dangerous driving. Grant funding from OTS has provided essential resources to our organization and many others like ours that enable us to enhance our enforcement capabilities and execute targeted operations against speeding. With the assistance of OTS, the Sacramento Police Department and other agencies gather for quarterly collaborative meetings where we discuss our training, we communicate about our best practices in ways of changing dangerous driving behaviors. We share data, discuss these strategies, provide resources to each other, and in that process we have created a unified front against speeding and other dangerous driving behaviors to ensure consistency in our enforcement efforts across multiple jurisdictions. With that, our community is impacted by these events, and local law enforcement agencies have found that our partnerships with the community are critical in this process. Last summer, by example, I was actually on scene for one of the most devastating crashes the city of Sacramento has ever seen. It was a single vehicle injury crash that included 9 children victims and 1 other adult. 2 children died in that crash, and 1 adult died in that crash. Speed was a contributing factor. This is something that touched me being on scene. It touched other people having heard about it. It devastated our community, and it devastated those families. We recognize the deep impacts of tragedies like this that are absolutely avoidable. By working with local organizations, schools, neighborhood and community groups, other stakeholders, we aim to raise awareness about the dangers of speeding, the impacts of it, and encourage community members to actively participate in traffic safety initiatives such as these. The second step that the Sacramento Police Department and other local law enforcement agencies are taking in this process is using data. Having a data-driven approach using real-time crash data and historical patterns, the Sacramento Police Department has been able to stay well-informed with information that drive our deployment strategies in a high-visibility approach. By analyzing our data, we can identify speeding hotspots and times of risk. That enables us to allocate our resources more effectively. Our high-visibility patrols are designed to deter speeding by increasing the likelihood of encountering law enforcement on the roads. And then to our future efforts. We know this battle is just in the early stages, but we're willing to push forward. By example, the Sacramento Police Department is currently in the process of establishing optimal strategies and best practices for a new full-time evening and weekend traffic enforcement team. We're dedicated to addressing this change in culture. This team will be focused on areas and times identified by our risk analysis, ensuring that targeted and effective approaches to curb speeding and other dangerous driving behaviors is at the forefront. Our goal is to outright change the mindset of our drivers and increase their voluntary compliance with the laws. By focusing on these key areas, our partnerships, our enforcement strategies, and looking forward to our future efforts, we aim to make a positive impact on our communities and reduce the incidence of speed-related fatalities and injuries. By focusing our efforts in this area, we hope that together with the community, with our partners, that we can create a safer roadway for Californians. Remember to slow the fast down. And now I'd like to take the time to introduce the founder of Slow Down Sacramento, Mr. Isaac Gonzalez.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Isaac Gonzalez. I'm the founder of Slow Down Sacramento. I want to thank the Office of Traffic Safety for the invitation to come and speak today at the kickoff of their Slow the Fast Down campaign, and a call for all Sacramentans and Californians to drive in a manner that is courteous and considerate of all the other road users, those in vehicles, those on foot, those on bicycle, or other motorized devices. In Sacramento County, since January 1st of this year, 94 people have died on our roadways. It's a number so large, it's difficult to fathom. It's difficult to imagine 94 families that could be standing here behind me today, grieving for their loved ones. 94 groups of people who lost someone they can never speak to again because of traffic violence. And as you heard before, we know that statistically, over 30% of all fatalities are related to speed. We could have saved over 30 lives this year in our own community if we would just slow the fast down. Those numbers are large and difficult to fathom, but I want to tell you about two people who I know personally who have died thanks in part to speed. In 2012, a 16-year-old student at West Campus High School named Michelle Manrigi was walking through a crosswalk when the first car stopped to let her pass and the second car sped on through. She was hit and killed. She was leaving another school campus where she was mentoring elementary students. She was the only daughter of her mother. Michelle should be almost 30 years old today. And I wonder what light we've missed as a community not having Michelle with us. She would have been a great member of our community, an outstanding citizen, a model for us to follow. I am happy to share with you that after that terrible incident, the City of Sacramento and Sacramento City Unified School District found creative ways to change the built environment to decrease the likelihood of that happening again in the intersection where it did. They installed a new traffic signal and marked crosswalk, and since then, we have not seen the same incident happen again. The next is Lupe Jimenez. Lupe was a mother who in 2022 was picking up her 6th grade daughter at Phoebe Hearst Elementary School when a speeding car ran through a red light and hit another. In the resulting crash, she was crushed and killed. Her daughter does not have a mother anymore. She had 2 daughters, no mother. Her husband has no wife. She worked at SMUD, and by all who mentioned her said she was an outstanding person to know. She lit up a room. She was a delight. And she is gone. Wherever that person was going that day when they ran that red light was not important enough to take a life. Lupe should still be here with us today. Again, I am happy to share that thanks to the work of Assemblymember Kevin McCarty and our Sacramento City, that we found $5.6 million, and we are addressing the built environment to hopefully decrease the opportunity for people to speed on our local roadways and for that not to happen again. But we have billions of billions of dollars of unfunded safety improvement projects yet to come in our city and in our state. So until we get to the day where we have changed the built environment significantly enough that the likelihood of death or serious injury is reduced to zero, I'm asking you to slow the fast down. Make it your own personal responsibility to drive in a manner that is safe and conducive to all road users around you. That is your moral responsibility as a driver. When you get behind the wheel, you have the responsibility to think about the safety of everyone around you, not just those in your car. The life you may save may be the loved one like your own. Please slow the fast down. Thank you.
Well said, Isaac, and thank you for sharing Lupe and Michelle's story, Rachel, your aunt, Sergeant Collier, and the law enforcement that are here saving lives, but have to deal with the aftermath because it is a violent death. What they have to see and experience for people they never knew. Thank you for your efforts, and it's more reason why we all need to slow the fast down, make it a priority, because if you were to ask yourself and your family and your friends and your partner and your neighbor, what's an acceptable number? It's not going to be more than 0, is it? Think about that. Let's save lives. Let's prevent this from happening and be responsible and safe out there. With that, that concludes our press conference. We will be around to answer any questions and do some interviews for a few minutes afterwards. Thank you, everyone, and slow the fast down. Go safely.